Pakistan has released Afghan Taliban's former deputy chief Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar from jail. Baradar was released after a high-level delegation of Qatar visited Islamabad and met the senior leadership of Pakistan. Baradar was one of the 4 top commanders who formed the Afghan Taliban in 1994. He was captured by the Pakistani security agencies in Karachi in 2015 and is believed to be the highest-ranking Afghan Taliban prisoner freed so far. Russian Defense Ministry showed its paratroopers storming a building together with the army of Egypt as a part of joint exercises held in the Arab Republic. The Defenders of Friendship street drills will continue until the 26th of October at a military base in northwestern Egypt. The Egyptian Defense Ministry website said in a statement the drills include exchange of training experiences for the tasks of special units, the implementation of many forms of atypical shootings, special forces training on fighting and combating terrorism. Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov has said that Moscow expected Washington to explain its plans to quit a landmark Cold War-era treaty that eliminated nuclear missiles from Europe. President Donald Trump had said that Washington would withdraw from the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty because Russia is violating the pact, triggering a warning of retaliatory measures from Moscow. Over 5,000 people from Honduras, Guatemala and Nicaragua continue to march in the blazing sun to reach the United States. The U.S. President has called these migrants illegal and warns of military action. He is now threatening to cut foreign aid to the 3 Central American countries of Honduras, Guatemala and El Salvador. He has criticized the countries for allowing people to leave the region and come illegally to the U.S. Two people have died after a boat carrying migrants sank just 50 meters off Turkey's western coast. 17 people on the boat were rescued and 3 made it to the shore by themselves. 2 of those people later died at the hospital. Search and rescue operations are continuing for the possible missing passengers. Turkey becomes one of the main launch points for more than 1 million migrants taking the sea route to EU territory in 2015. A Category 4 storm, Hurricane Willa, is sweeping towards Mexico. Hurricane Willa is a potentially catastrophic storm that is expected to make landfall on Mexico's southwestern coast in the next 24 hours. The hurricane has now sustained maximum winds of 260 kilometers per hour. Forecasters expect Willa to bring life-threatening storm surge, wind and rainfall over west, central and southwestern Mexico. Heavy rains hit the southern Spanish province of Malaga, dangerously swelling the water levels of rivers running through the historic town of Ronda. Now, torrents of brown water tore through the valley after plummeting from a waterfall. The heavy rainfall forced hundreds of people from their homes across southern Spain. Malaga province was among the worst affected. At least 11 people have died after tropical storm has lashed Mexico's Pacific in southern Mexico. Torrential rainfall caused rivers to burst, its bank flooding homes. Residents were seen wading through waist-high water while troops tried to evacuate trapped residents using a boat. While the weather is expected to, the storm is expected to weaken to a tropical depression, it could produce major rainfall and the risk of flash floods and landslide. Investigations into the deadly passenger train derailment in Taiwan are underway. At least 18 people died and 187 were injured in the accident. Now, investigators are attempting to determine whether the overall speed of the train led to the derailment. At present, all of the overturned carriages have been turned upright. However, more time is still needed before the carriages can be moved from the tracks because of the ongoing collection of evidence. Belgium's energy production is plunging as its nuclear reactors are taken offline for repairs. The power shortfall this winter seen as a test of the country's ability to cope when the reactors are phased out from 2022. Belgium's nuclear regulator PFANC has said that problems in the concrete structures surrounding the 4 reactors are classed as the lowest level of severity, with no impact on the population or the environment. Many European reactors are reaching the end of their lives and showing defects that ultimately cannot be fixed. Cameroon's President Paul Biya won an emphatic election victory with 71% of the vote. The widely expected win gives the 85-year-old his 7th term in office and could see him power until at least the age of 92. Victory in the October 7 polls came amid claims from opposite candidates that the election was marred by fraud, including ballot stuffing and voter intimidation. The Constitutional Council rejected all 18 petitions claiming fraud last week. Italian Prime Minister Conte has said that prejudgment of Italy's budget law by the EU was unacceptable. Italy's Treasury told the European Commission that it would stick to its contested budget plans in defiance of EU fiscal rules, but promised to intervene if it failed to meet its debt and deficit goals. An Italian government source says that Rome was expecting the EU executive to take the unprecedented step to ask it to revise its 2019 draft budget, which includes lifting the deficit to 2.4% of the GDP from 1.8% in 2018. Russian police published a video showing the detention of 3 men suspected of setting up a cannabis farm on a landing stage in a port in north of Russia. Russian Ministry of Internal Affairs says that more than 230 cannabis plants had been withdrawn. A criminal case has been initiated. The illegal growth of large quantity of cannabis is punishable with a jail term of up to 8 years and a fine in Russia. China's Beipanjiang Bridge has been officially certified as the highest bridge in the world by the Guinness World Records recently. The bridge is over 1,300 meters long and the vertical distance from the bridge floor to the river surface is 565 meters. The bridge has opened up yet another route for transportation and boosted the local economic development. More goods can also be transported in. LGBTQ activists marched to the White House to protest reports that the administration of President Donald Trump is attempting to strip transgender people of official recognition. The Trump administration is attempting to create a narrow definition of gender as being only male or female and unchangeable once it is determined at birth. A draft of the Trump administration on memo says that gender should be determined on a biological basis that is clear and grounded in science. A small parcel of fertile land bisected by the Jordan River has become a center of friction between peace partners Israel and Jordan. Jordan put Israel on notice, saying it will not extend the 25-year lease agreed in their 1994 peace treaty. The treaty allows Israel to use the borderland area along the Jordan River and another tract in the desert to the south. Israel says it was still hoping to negotiate an extension to the lease before it runs out. A group of Chilean youths with Down syndrome are gaining important life skills and creating delicious concoctions by planting, growing and collecting vegetables that they can then cook. The program, Garden on the Corner, started over a year ago as a way to help youth with Down syndrome bridge the gap between their school years and their entry into the labour market. The Garden on the Corner is a greenhouse and garden where participants plant seeds, transplant seedlings and grow vegetables and herbs that they then sell in the Santiago neighborhood. The Mega Million jackpot has skyrocketed to $2.2 billion after there were no winners in Friday night's $1 billion drawing. The estimated cash option is nearly $905 million. Lottery players face long shot odds of 1 in 300 and 3 million to win the Mega Million drawing. Mega Million tickets are sold in 44 US states, the District of Columbia and the Virgin Islands. In India, the police are investigating the death of a key witness in a case involving the alleged rape of a nun by a Roman Catholic bishop. The death comes as India's Christian community is reeling from a string of cases, including the arrest of 5 priests in August on allegations of sexual assault. The police say the body of a Catholic priest was found in his room in a church in the northern state of Punjab. The Tibetans in Exile government organized the Chinese Outreach Forum and Training Program in North Indian hill town of Dharamshala. The program was attended by Chinese nationals stationed across the world and Tibetan youths along with the exiled government's president Lobsang Sangay. India is home to almost 100,000 Tibetans. Exiled spiritual leader the Dalai Lama has lived in the country since fleeing a failed uprising against Chinese rule of his homeland in 1959. NASA sent a jet of water around 100 feet in the air on the 15th of October as it tested a system using to reduce the high heat and energy levels generated when rockets launched. The ignition overpressure protection and sound suppression water deluge system was set off at the Launch Complex 39B at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. NASA says that the test was part of preparation for launching the Space Launch System rocket on Exploration Mission 1 and subsequent missions. Pregnant wife of Britain's Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, rejoined her husband for a tour of Australia's Fraser Island. The pair entered the last week and a half of their trip to Australia, New Zealand and the South Pacific. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex are expecting their first child in the spring of 2019. They are in Australia for the Invictus Games, which was founded by Prince Harry. A pick-your-own pumpkin patch boasting over 70 varieties of the fruit in Kent is getting British families into the Halloween spirit. A pumpkin farmer, Charlie Eckley, plants his seeds in May, ready for an October harvest. By the time Halloween comes around, his 22-acre pumpkin moon site in Maidstone is abundant with pumpkins. Squash and gods of all shapes and sizes, families from across Britain flood the farm to pick them.